Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The Warriors are struggling with the difficulties that are emerging in the season. The players have been inconsistent and the fans are beginning to have doubts as to whether this team will be able to reach the playoffs in this difficult Western Conference. Many names are mentioned as possible signings, and the Warriors are willing to make big deals. Right now, only Stephen Curry is non-negotiable. Rumors: Lakers making trade with Pelicans and signing Brandon Ingram in exchange for Brandon Podziemski and some draft picks. The Golden State Warriors have been looking for an all-star player to pair with Steph Curry for a while now. They tried to land LeBron James at last year's trade deadline and missed out on it. In the summer, they tried trading for Paul George and missed out. Then, they tried for Lauri Markkanen and missed out. Now, their options are slimmer with each day. It looks like the only option left on the market for the Golden State Warriors is Brandon Ingram. On December 15th, when the trade season began, the Warriors traded for Dennis Schroeder, hoping he would be the first domino to a successful trade season. Yet, since then, they have missed out on a few opportunities, albeit not their fault. They were in the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes, but then Pat Riley came out and publicly said Jimmy is not going anywhere. They secretly hoped the Lakers would continue losing, and LeBron will ask for a trade. Yet, the Lakers finally traded D'Angelo Russell and got wing depth, signaling they will go all in LeBron's final years with the franchise. With LeBron and Jimmy out of the trade market, there are not many difference-makers left. Brandon Ingram is the biggest name left on the market, but it seems like the Pelicans might be looking for too much. The Warriors had a great opportunity to improve their depth. There are reports that the Nets wanted a bigger trade. In that missed opportunity, the Warriors could have gotten Cam Johnson, Schroeder, and Dorian Finney-Smith. With that trade, the Warriors would have 3 more quality rotation players to add to their depth. Yet, at the time, the Warriors hoped to get their hands on a bigger name on the market. And now, in a classic tale of a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, they are left with very few options. Is Brandon Ingram worth it? Ingram last played on December 7th against the Oklahoma City Thunder. He left the game with a left ankle sprain, and the Pelicans hope he will be back somewhere in mid-January. While he is in trade rumors, the Pelicans will probably be cautious and will not rush him back into the court. Despite missing several games with the injury, he remains the leading scorer on the Pelicans at 22.2 per game. He also averages 5.6 rebounds and 5.2 assists. This year, the 27-year-old forward increased his three-point attempts, a must when playing for the Warriors. He went from 3.8 per game last year to 6.4 this season. At the same time, he converts them at a better percentage, 37.4% to 35.5%. Ingram was named an All-Star in 2020 and won the Most Improved Player award the same season. His All-Star nod came in his 4th NBA season, the first with the Pelicans. That year, he averaged 23.8 points per game on 46% shooting, including 39% from behind the arc. While he is a great player, Ingram has had injury troubles throughout his career. He has appeared in 70-plus games only once, in his rookie season. Since then, the most he has played is 64 games last season. He is currently in a contract year, and if the Warriors trade for him, they better hope he will re-sign there long-term. What can the Golden State Warriors give up for Brandon Ingram? The Golden State Warriors have 2 options for a Brandon Ingram trade. Both options include Andrew Wiggins since he has a high salary to match the one of Ingram. From there, they can either include 2 young players like Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski or add in an expiring contract and picks. The negotiations with the Pelicans will decide which route they will go if they decide to trade for Ingram. At this point, the Warriors have a couple of other names they can pursue on the market, for example, Zach LaVine and Cam Johnson. Ingram is the youngest and healthiest among the three. Warriors to draft huge 6'9" Russian guard? The Golden State Warriors have not enjoyed life of late. The team has lost 13 of their last 17 games. While this is bad news for their championship aspirations, it can be viewed as great news for the reward they could reap in the 2025 NBA draft. Most scouts agree on the fact that this year's group of soon-to-be draftees is a very talented one. Perhaps if the Warriors fail to find success in the 2024-25 NBA season, this draft can serve as a launching pad for the future. A recent NBA mock draft written by Jonathan Wasserman of Bleacher Report featured the Warriors selecting guard Igor Demon from BYU. With Stephen Curry climbing up there in years, the Warriors could be in the market for future backcourt leaders. Demon could certainly fill that role for Golden State. The BYU guard stands at an impressive size of 6 feet 9 inches. Demon would be another addition to the NBA trend of oversized ball handlers. His impressive stature has allowed him to be one of the most talented passers in the 2025 NBA draft. Demon has great instincts for dishing the ball. The BYU guard is averaging 5.9 assists in 29.2 minutes per game. Demon has also been capable of alleviating some of the concerns that scouts had about him before his freshman season at BYU. His three-point shot is dropping at an effective 34.1% on 4.9 attempts per game. With Demon continuing to fill out his all-around game, the Warriors would be wise to select him, given the opportunity. The question may be whether he slips far enough in the NBA draft for Golden State to have a chance. Warriors trade prediction announced frankly by Draymond Green. Despite a strong start to the 2024-25 season, the Golden State Warriors have since regressed to being an average team. After Monday's crushing 113-95 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Warriors felt the pressure. During post-game media availability, one Warriors star conveyed that losing leads to trades. Call it a prediction. Call it a warning. But listen in on Draymond Green's frank assessment of the situation. Start here. Although the Warriors hold the 10 seed in the Western Conference, you can't question Green's effort. Historically, the Warriors' elite defensive weapon doesn't take kindly to players not giving it their all. In response to the Warriors' 3-7 stretch in their recent 10 outings, Green spoke to the desperation for which his teammates must play. "We gotta win games or, I told the guys, we're all gonna get traded," Green said. Related, why Warriors' New Year's resolution involves trade. Green's mention of the possibility of a trade doesn't surprise anyone, as the Warriors, the Denver Nuggets, the Miami Heat, and the Los Angeles Lakers, among other teams, fill the trade rumor mill with ideas of how each team could improve with a move. Golden State's superstar Stephen Curry can't get the job done without help, and the fiery start from Buddy Hield was more of a fling than a fulfilling stretch. Moreover, Jonathan Kuminga's scoring off the bench hasn't made a difference as the Warriors' second unit ranked 22nd in offensive rating despite the high point-per-game production. Given Curry's delicate timeline, as he's in the twilight era of his playing career, the Warriors only have so much time to build a legitimate winner. If that's the goal? With the NBA trade deadline looming, Green's words play like a broken record for Warriors fans and the players. Maybe in a good way. As a warning. But also as a prediction. Warriors fans will hate this caveat in a Zion Williamson trade. As the Golden State Warriors find themselves on the outside looking in on the NBA playoffs after a very hot start to the season, it's hard to imagine the front office being anything but desperate. Stephen Curry and Draymond Green have clearly taken a step back, but both of them are still capable of leading a title-winning roster, provided they are surrounded by the right pieces. The Dubs have been linked to Jimmy Butler, Brandon Ingram, and even LeBron James, but New Orleans Pelicans forward Zion Williamson is a logical fit. His extensive injury history aside, if the Warriors want to add Williamson, there will be some severe consequences that fans might not be able to forgive. If the Warriors make a deal for Williamson, one can assume that Jonathan Kuminga will be sent to New Orleans. That gives the Dubs a starting five of Curry, Dennis Schroeder, Andrew Wiggins, Green, and Williamson. One of the Warriors' biggest issues this season has been a lack of a traditional center, and adding Zion into the fold doesn't exactly help things. Fansided's Peter O'Keefe recently pointed out that the Warriors will have trouble matching Williamson's $197 contract. Parting ways with Wiggins makes sense financially, but that would gut their perimeter defense. Instead, on paper, including Green in a deal for Zion makes the most amount of sense. One of Kuminga or Green would have to be moved in a Williamson trade, and given the financial complications, perhaps it makes more sense for it to be the 34-year-old franchise legend instead of the 22-year-old upstart, he wrote on Wednesday. Related, Warriors trade prediction announced frankly by Draymond Green is a four-time champion, four-time All-Star, and a Defensive Player of the Year with the Warriors. As far as iconic duos go, he and Curry are right up there with Shaq and Kobe and Jordan and Pippen. Trading him for a player with several question marks surrounding him might just be enough for some fans to turn their back on the franchise.